And so tonight, would you bow your heads with me, please? Heavenly Father, we just ask tonight for Mayor and Council and the staff at Strathmore Town Office. We ask for wisdom from above, wisdom to direct the affairs of the town in a godly manner, that we might live in a safe environment, a safe community. I pray for their families. I pray for wisdom, for strength, for health for the families. I pray for favor with the federal, provincial governments, for the town council. And I pray for the bylaw, the RCMP, the ambulance, public works, everybody in town that serves people. We pray a blessing over them tonight, and we pray a blessing over this council meeting as they make choices and decisions that will affect us. Let them be led by your Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you
very much. Councilor Buell, are you saying that I've already guaranteed a trip to heaven? Or?
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying.
Public hearing next on the agenda. Like, call to order the public hearing for number 11-27, Strathmore Municipal Town Office, March 7, 2012, commencing at 7:38. The purpose of the bylaw is the purpose of bylaw number 11-27 is to enact the Lakewood Meadows Area Structure Plan for a portion of Northwest Quarter 22, 24, 25 west of the 4th meridian within the town of Strathmore. I'm going to ask you, is there any confirmation of notices from administration?
Yes, Your Worship. An open house was held by Patricia Maloney and Associates in Strathmore on the evening of December 12, 2011. This open house was advertised for 2 consecutive weeks in the Strathmore Standard prior to the open house. Notice of application was circulated to affected agencies on December 13, 2011. A public hearing notice was circulated via regular post mail on December 13, 2011 to adjacent landowners. Bylaw 1127 was advertised in the Strathmore Times on February 17, 2012 and February 24, 2012. And an additional public hearing notice was circulated via regular post mail on February 9, 2012 to adjacent landowners.
Thank you. Again, Linda, I guess a report from the Planning and Development Representative of the Planning Department.
Thank you, Your Worship. As depicted in the drawing on page 6 of your public hearing agenda, the subject land is part of the town's annexed land containing the town's former raw water reservoir. And this site is immediately west of the existing community of Hillview Estates. The application to adopt this area structure plan by bylaw was submitted in December of 2011. In reviewing this application, the following items were considered. The lands to the west are within Wheatland County and contain the Oxbow Golf Course. To the north is annexed agricultural general land. To the east is the community of Hillview Estates. And to the south is the approved area structure plan of Wildflower Ranch, with the predominant use adjacent to the plan area being low-density residential. The site was historically used as grazing land, and most recently it was the site of the town's former raw water reservoir. There are no natural gas wells on the site. It is recognized that the aggregate density of the annexation lands will meet the density requirement of 8 to 10 units per gross acre. However, given the nature of the proposal of Lakewood Meadows and the unique opportunities within the planned area, planning is recommending that we accept a lower density of lower than the required 8 to 10 units per gross acre to achieve the developer's vision. This relaxation from the density requirement is with the understanding that other areas within the annexation land may be required to carry a higher density in order to achieve the aggregate 8 to 10 units per gross acre. Servicing for this site will meet the requirements of the master servicing study. Further detailed engineering will be required prior to subdivision endorsement and development stages. Circulation comments that we received back from agency referrals are as follows. Alberta Health Services submitted comments and requested the Phase 1 ESA for their review, and this is supplied to them. WID submitted comments stating that a long-term agreement is required for stormwater issues on this land. The WID requires a 20-meter green space buffer along the west side discussions regarding the long-term agreement with the WID will take place and solutions to the stormwater will be considered prior to subdivision of the project area. AECOM submitted comments which have been addressed through amendments made to the plan or are not applicable at the area structure plan stage and will be addressed at the development agreement stage of subdivision. Comments submitted by town engineering and infrastructure have been addressed in the amendments made to the document. Some of the comments will be accommodated in the development agreement and subdivision stages. Alberta Transportation provided comments regarding traffic flows and capacity along the existing Highway Number 1 and 817 corridor. A provision was incorporated into the document which will allow further assessment of transportation capacity at the time of subdivision. We have received comments back from one adjacent landowner, which I will read into the minutes. It was dated March 5th, 2012. The Town Council and Administration of the Town of Strathmore. RE proposed bylaw 1117 and proposed bylaw 1127. As an adjacent landowner, Cancorp did not receive a copy of the proposed bylaws. We therefore don't feel we have enough time or information to fully review and comment on the proposed amendment. Of concern is the potential impact that this might have on our lands without having the full time to study this. Of note, we did not receive a copy of bylaw 1117 when it was first sent for circulation in late June, early July of 2011 for the same parcel of land. As such, our comments remain the same from our July response. Most important to Wildflower Ranch is the still unresolved stormwater issues that face our project. The proposed PUL site on this property holds a potential solution for Wildflower Ranch that may be lost when this parcel is sold under the terms and conditions of the purchase agreement. To this end, the town and its councillors received a letter from our lawyers on February 22nd, 2012, once again relaying our concerns about the lack of progress in dealing with stormwater issues on our parcel and how the acceptance of these proposed bylaws could impact an immediate solution. In our letter, we requested a meeting with the town to get these issues resolved immediately, as we have been on hold for almost 2 years since the approval of our ASP. To date, we have not received any contact whatsoever from the town in this regard. Cancorp will continue to utilize and pursue any and all means in order to protect and secure the large investments already made in our project. Regards, Steve Lister, Development Manager, Wildflower Ranch.
Any more?
Yes, Your Worship. The Lakewood Meadows Area Structure Plan is a document that will direct the future growth of a unique area of Strathmore. The large water feature will provide an amenity to the immediate community and the town as a whole. All processes have been followed in accordance with legislative and regulatory requirements. Our engineering and operations department and our contract engineering team have received the proposal and have made comments on the technical supporting documentation. They are satisfied with the findings of such reviews and/or the comments are more appropriately addressed at the subdivision phase of development. And just to keep in mind that an area structure plan is a long-range plan which is conceptual in nature. The purpose of the plan is to provide a framework for subsequent subdivision and development of land, and the technical details and specifics of development may not necessarily be addressed through this process. And the Planning and Development Department, as well as Engineering and Operations and other agencies, have reviewed the document in great detail. The plan follows existing statutory documents within the town, as well as follows or accommodates other policies and approved plans within the town. Given the fact that there are still concerns with stormwater drainage, Council may wish to make a separate motion to ensure that all stakeholders continue to work together towards a solution to this issue. Thank you, Your Worship.
Any questions from council? Go ahead.
Through the chair, Belinda, was the absence of notification to Cancorp for this ASP, Was that done as an oversight, or was that required by?
Well, I believe it was done as an oversight. However, adjacent landowners do not get special notifications under section 692 for ASPs like they do for land use bylaw amendments. So as long as we give notice of a public hearing in accordance with section 606 and that we have complied with section 636 because this is a new area structure plan, then we are in compliance. And we did follow all of the procedures we were required to.
Thank you.
Councillor Best.
I've gone over this, and I know I had a bigger map that was showing, but I'm obviously looking for lot sizes.
And Your Worship, the applicant is also here to make a presentation, so, and that detail would not be given with an area structure plan. This is just the broad plan for the area.
Councillor Gill.
Just a question through the chair to Linda. Will the concerns of Cancorp be addressed, can they be addressed at the subdivision level?
Well, prior to subdivision, there are studies that are going to be required. The subdivision will not be endorsed until they have met their engineering requirements.
Okay,
So
thank
a
you.
lot more detail still has to come. This is just for the broad plan.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Randall, did you have something?
Well, I'm disappointed in the fact that Cancorp has been held up this long, and I think we need to, and I think it's going to be addressed here that we will do something to get them on their way ASAP. This has just been going on too long.
I'd just like to make note that historically, we always give notices to the adjacent landowners. Everybody else has got notices.
Yes.
And this has happened twice in a row. Why is that? That we never give these particular people notice.
Your Worship, I can't comment on that.
But it's very disturbing to me.
Yes, I'm assuming it was an oversight. But
Twice
again,
in a row.
yeah, and it was published in the local paper as well as on our website. And the reason we do that is in case we do miss somebody, then we still have given that opportunity for notification.
I would just like that to be recorded. It's twice in a row.
Well, I'd also like to reaffirm that it wasn't required by our bylaws.
Yeah, but historically we did it for everybody else.
I appreciate that, Your Worship, but I'm saying it's hard to call it an oversight when it wasn't required. If it's not required, then it's not. We complied with our bylaws in regards to
I'm not denying that.
notification.
I'm not denying that one bit. I'm just saying if we do it for everybody, I'll let it be equal and fair to everyone. And if there was no other further questions, now the application from the requisition, Pat Maloney, Bill Maher. Thank you, Linda.
Good evening, Your Worship. Council. My name is
Good
Pat
evening.
Maloney.
Bill, you can sit up here too.
Up here,
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
You can sit up here if you like.
No thanks.
Make sure we got. I've handed out, or Linda has handed out for me, a copy of the PowerPoint. We're just going to go through it. I'll try not to repeat what staff have already said. I did want to, I just last minute got a letter of support from an adjacent landowner, and I'll address that when I come to their site. So Lakewood Meadows is a residential community utilizing sort of the reinvention of a town infrastructure, being the raw water reservoir. Provides an active lifestyle opportunity contributing to the overall community of the town. The town has entered into an agreement for the sale of the residential lands. The developer is allowing for arterial road widening, internal roads, municipal reserve, regional pathway, and connectivity to neighboring properties. As you're, I'm sure, well aware, though, where the location is, and of course the existing reservoir, which, as you know, is quite a bit higher than the surrounding land, and so part of this development is a reconstruction, with the agreement being that a minimum of 40 acres of surface water be retained within the development. So we did hold an open house. We did a mail out to 30 adjacent residents. It was advertised, the open house was advertised twice in the Strathmore Standard. 12 to 15 people attended, along with town staff and WID staff. And at the open house, there were no significant concerns raised. There was some discussion of views from people in Hillview and sight lines, some discussion of timing, and some discussion of dust control. And those were the only comments we received at the open house. To complete this area structure plan, several background studies have been prepared, phase 1 environmental site assessment, groundwater level summaries, geotechnical investigation, transportation review, a biophysical impact assessment, and we received historical clearance from the province as well. The biophysical and environmental have identified the wetland in the north, the fen wetland, which is to be retained on the site as part of the stormwater and open space plan as well. So the land use is primarily residential, primarily single family, with some multi-family sites, public utility, municipal reserve, regional pathway, and road widening. The land use is fairly basic in that the reservoir is going to be reconstructed, reprofiled to provide maximum access to residents, both for lots backing onto it as well as walkway potential and use of the surface lake, the surface of the lake, while it is also being used as a major stormwater pond. The red doesn't show very well there, but there's access being provided to the 11-acre parcel in the northeast, and that is the landowner that has submitted a support. And basically, I'd just like to read this into the record then, that we have their permission to verbally articulate the client's support for the area structure plan, provided that adequate vehicular access, i.e. a future road connection, is still provided at our client's western property boundary, and the land use concept for the area structure plan remains consistent with what was presented at the open house, and these have both been.
And the owner's name?
It's presented by their agent, McElhaney Engineering.
Okay.
Mr. Cam Lang of McElhaney Engineering.
Thank you.
So we do have the two road accesses provided, one to the east to this property and one to the south to the Cancorp lands. That also provides a utility corridor should there be a stormwater connectivity from Cancorp to the stormwater pond. So that has been provided for here. The density, the overall density was mentioned. We don't achieve the 8 to 10. Losing 40 acres for almost 44 acres for the pond, road widening, regional pathway. Those things come out of the density calculation, and so what we're actually achieving is a little bit less. The town calculates the density by taking out non-developable and regional land uses. And so the density calculation is about 6.283 right now. We realize that is lower, but at the same time, as the town has indicated, hopefully those densities can be picked up elsewhere in other annexation lands. And by providing almost 44 acres of surface water, kind of takes a chunk out of what you can develop. Land use area calculations, so almost 37% of the site is single family, about 4% of the site is multifamily, and the municipal reserve is 14.4%. That's in addition to the regional pathway, the surface of the lake, and the other wetland in the north. Population projections, we're projecting, including the multifamily, about 464 residential units for a population of a little over 1,200. The open space and connectivity and amenities are really what make this a very unique community, with 44 acres of surface lake and the public utility lot strip around the lake for access, which will also be used for open space, along with the wetland. And a 30-meter strip adjacent to the wetland to protect it, as well as the municipal reserve lands. We feel that this provides a pretty unique opportunity. And with the regional pathway and connectivity south to Wildflower, it provides linkages throughout the community. This just illustrates that this may not be exactly to scale because there will be more green space on the east side of the Fen wetland. But again, until you get into detailed subdivision and start to survey, we're not exactly sure where the high water mark is, but there will be a 30-meter setback from that at time of subdivision. Roads and servicing, so the main access will be north of North Boundary Road, and there will also be an access off of Range Road 253. All the internal roads are designed to the town specs. There will be a dedicated road right-of-way for the east property, interim sanitary for the first 100 lots, and a lift station in the north of the community off of North Boundary Road. The storm pond capacity will allow, the 44 acres of storm pond will eventually allow for the capacity for other communities to tie into that, whether from the south or from the north. And that capacity has been built into to this project. Piped water will be connecting off of North Boundary Road and will ultimately loop Hillview. We've got this servicing map there and then your plan. 7 phases of development have been identified. Road dedication for the 2 other properties to the east and the south will be commensurate with the actual subdivision, and the pond construction, the redesign of the reservoir will be done in phasing as well, with the first phase to happen with the first stage of development. And the first phase is in the north portion of the property off of North Boundary Road.
So you can, the 44 acres of water can be designed so that you can only do part of it now and
Yes. It's been designed into two
The reason
chunks.
we need to do that is there's existing water in there. So if you see how it's split there, the existing berm stays in place while we build the new part of the pond. And then we drain the water into that. And there's basically two ponds, but
so it'll be in 2 phases?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's the end of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Council, any questions to the developers? Council Joe?
Question through the chair. Could you explain to me what interim sanitary is for the first 100 lots? What does that mean?
Okay, well,
there's a north trunk line that needs to be in place for the permanent sanitary treatment or collection for all along North Boundary Road. So the interim solution is pumping the first 100 lots into the Hillview system, which has the capacity for that. And that allows time for all of the developers along the North Boundary Road. And we've had meetings, we had one this morning, with different parties along there that are anxious to enter into an agreement with the town on that. We've done a pre-design on the sewer line and given that the cost to Jesse yesterday, the day before, pretty recently, so that the town and the town engineers can work out what it's going to cost everybody. And that's what everybody's waiting for the permanent solution.
My understanding is that the council understands that there'll be a reservoir that you pump into, the sewage will go into and then pumps into
It's
overnight.
a buried tank.
Yes.
And it's like a glorified lift station. So there's a buried tank, the sewage comes in, and then we pump off hours, like he'll do during the night. You set it so it's not interfering with the daily.
That's how they get more usage out of the.
Yeah.
Okay, the second part of my question then is we don't have to then worry about any unsightly or
No.
or offensive, I don't know how to word this.
Order.
Yes, yeah.
No, it's not, it's like a lift station. A lift station is, if you go to any lift station you have around town, they're already in the residential areas. The tank is buried and it pumps off hours, so it's not open sewage.
And it would pump regularly,
Yeah.
so it would be emptied out regularly.
Council Rimble.
Through the chair, I'm just looking at that and anticipating that Cancorp are going to be using the part of the pond that's going to be in the second phase of the ponding. And I'm just wondering if we get to a level that we have to drain off, how do we go about getting it over? Because looks like there's a berm in between.
Now, the berm is just, it's like a weir, so the water flows between the two.
Oh, I see.
The water flows to the north continuous, when it gets to a certain level.
Okay.
The capacity for Cancorp will actually be decided by the town and their engineers. The capacity is in there. Our project, we can deal with storm on our own side, but this pond is not just for us. There's North Hill will be coming into it. Cancorp probably will revise their area structure plan that shows it going to the northwest. It'll probably come through this pond.
So this could actually serve as a settling pond for incoming storm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Playing the devil's advocate here, let's assume that we can't, no one can dump in there because of environmental reasons. And I know what the plan is to go down to the river and just start on one, blah, 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 down the river. What is our second choice?
It's not common knowledge. Sorry. There's another thing that I've been working on, and we've had discussions with Cancorp a week and a half ago, and with the other developers to the northeast. I mean, the permanent solution has to come, right? It's there, it has to come, but we need to work with the devil, and not separate to the devil. And the town is having discussions with WAD and lawyers and all of that, and we're having discussions saying, well, why can't we do this? We need to sit around the table and say, okay, here's a solution. Let's put it in place. The concerns we have with some of the things we see from WID is they want a water quality that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not.
We all know that.
And so something has to give there. I was actually with Orleans College last week, Bill and I did, and Dr. A, they called, because they can't pronounce his last name. Has a proposal for us that we want to talk to the town on testing water quality.
Yes, and I want the subdivision to go, I want all subdivisions to work, but I'm just a little nervous that I don't want to get caught with the.
But Mayor Grayson, if you look back at the last 15 years or 10 years here, there is always something that is an emergency that has to be dealt. You cannot stop growth.
I'm not trying to stop it, don't
No, I'm saying or delayed. You have to keep going. The more people that are developing here, the more pressure there is on all of us to come up with that permanent solution. And it's there. We just haven't identified exactly what it's going to be and how it's going to work. But there are other options that aren't being explored right now.
No further questions?
No, I would just comment that that those are really valid concerns, but probably they should be dealt with as at the subdivision stage.
Yes.
No other questions, council?
I move that the public hearing be
Well,
closed.
wait till I'm not done here yet. I'll give you a couple more. Any more delegates in favor? If not, thank you very much, folks. That's good. Any delegates that are opposed that want to be spoken, that want to be heard? None? No opposed, no in favor, so we can now close the public hearing.
I'll remake that motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, folks. On to the regular council meeting. Any adoption or amendments to the agenda? None? Councilor Brown?
I have nothing, your worship.
Councilor Nelson? Councilor Best? Councilor Yule?
Nothing, your worship.
Administration?
Are we going to have something on the policy or? Pardon me?
Well, I thought we were going to delay that for until,
Well, let's bring it up and we'll delay it when it comes up.
Yes, I wanted that.
Okay. I'm going to move the adoption as presented.
Move the adoption.
There be a minute.
I would move to adopt the minutes of the worship with the agenda.
All in favor?
Oh, folks.
You're getting your mix all tucked up.
Yeah, I'm dying.
4-1, adoption of February 15th, 2012 committee of the whole meeting.
I move that council adopt the February 15th, 2012 committee of the whole meeting minutes as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Someone new to please move number 4-2, adoption of February 15th, 2012 regular council meeting.
Your worship, I would move that council adopt the February 15th, 2012 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Delegation citizens of the month. Councilor Fuel, I believe that's your turn.
Yes, yes it is. Your worship, I have the honor and pleasure of introducing my citizen of the month, and I've chosen the Strathmore District Agricultural Society. This organization is a non-for-profit organization that hosts the largest annual community event held within the town of Strathmore and surrounding area, the Strathmore Heritage Days Stampede. The Stampede allows the Agricultural Society and other non-profit organizations, such as the Strathmore Lions Club and the Cheadle Lions Club, to raise funds to provide other community services throughout the year. For the Ag Society, this mainly includes funding operating expenses for the facilities in order to enable us to donate the use of these facilities to other non-profit and charitable community organizations. These organizations currently include the Children's Wish Foundation, Wheatland Wild Things Junior Forest Wardens, Wheatland Shooting Club, Wheatland Future Cowboys and Cowgirls, Strathmore Scouts, Strathmore Archery Club, Strathmore District Christmas Hamper Society, Holy Cross Collegiate School, Girl Guides of Canada Prairie Rose Area, Canadian Cancer Society Relay for Life, Fun Country Riding Club of Strathmore, the Strathmore Youth Center, Air Cadets, Wheatland, I just don't want to forget anyone, there's a long list, Wheatland District 4-H, Strathmore Rusty Spurs 4-H Club, Crowfoot 4-H Multi-Club, Crowfoot 4-H Livestock, and the Cheadle 4-H Club. They also give out $12,000 worth of gift certificates for bandstand tickets that are donated to various other nonprofit groups, as well as a value of $17,000 worth of rush tickets donated to various nonprofit groups. They partnered with groups like the Matrix Cheer Team, the Strathmore Youth Center, Wheatland Cowboys and Cowgirls Rodeo Society, as well as the Cooper Kids Trust Fund. The Strathmore District Agricultural Society also operates a baseball complex complete with 4 diamonds and a concession, primarily utilized by the Strathmore Minor Ball Association and Strathmore Slow Pitch Association. There are a great many volunteers, especially who put in a great amount of time, including the Christmas light display presented that has become known as the Celebration of Lights. The other arms of the Ag Society is the Strathmore Farmers Market, as well as the Strathmore High School Rodeo. And I believe tonight I have 2 members of the Strathmore and District Agriculture Society Board, volunteer members to receive this presentation, and they are Carolyn Johnson and Mr. Brad Walls. So if you'd like to come forward and accept our March Citizen of the Month Award.
I'd like to mention that Carolyn is now the president.
Pat, you should leave her in the middle, that way we got a rose between 2 thorns.
And Brad Walls is on the board of directors. Thank you very much for your good work. Bylaw, one of them is the cancel. Bylaw 6.2 is what we're going to now, right? Bylaw, Lakewood Meadows,
6-1.
6.1, redistrict, okay, yeah, 6.1, sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is the bylaw that was the subject of the public hearing tonight, and we are looking for second and third reading.
I would move that the council provide second reading to bylaw 11-27.
You all heard the motion, any discussion? I would want to go back to, we have one we're going to add to this, at one point about the, our assuring.
Your Worship, that was going to be after.
After the, okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Worship, I move that council provide third and final reading to bylaw number 11-27.
All heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. Opposed? Everybody didn't have their hand up.
I did.
Oh, I didn't see it, sorry. Okay, carried, but not opposed. The third reading, we wanted something to add to this,
Your Worship, I would move that administration continue to meet with all stakeholders who will be affected by drainage into the Lakewood Meadows Area Structure Plan and prepare a report to bring back to council on the impact of the new reservoir on all lands affected to ensure that all stakeholders are treated equitably.
you all heard the motion, any further discussion? I just want to ensure that, you know, this whole thing is, I know it's very delicate and that all parties are really truly being considered here. And hopefully they'll all come to the table so that they're all treated, and I'll reemphasize, must be treated with equality here. This is so critical. Especially since these people have started, the Cancorp group has started their project much sooner than a lot of other people, and we're proving all the way down the line projects that are supposed to be 15 years away. And that concerns me that, you know, let's work with people that started prior to. Thank you.
Worship?
Yes.
Your Worship, I think, just adding to that motion there, under reading through the ASP under 7.4 stormwater management, 7.4.3, 7.4.4, and 7.4.9 addresses that same thing.
You just want to give a vote comments. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. No, this business, Cora, thank you, Linda. Or is there? No. I'm sorry, no, I'm right ahead of myself. Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. This also is the subject lands that were part of the public hearing tonight, and this is for the redesignation. This bylaw originally had a public hearing on July 6th of 2011, and the second and third reading were postponed until an area structure plan was adopted for the plan area. So given the fact that you have given second and third reading to the area structure plan, and the land use amendment follows that area structure plan, we're asking for second and third reading to the redesignation as well.
I'd move that council provide second reading to bylaw number 11-17 as amended.
Y'all heard the motion. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor?
Your worship, I would move that council provide third and final reading to bylaw 11-17 as amended.
Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Oh, I can go on. I already have something to done there. I'll make it meeting done. 8.1 F-Door contract amendment.
Good evening, Your Worship. The council has asked Craig Bonneville, the manager for water services, to join us here to discuss this item. For this evening.
Yes, go ahead.
As you're aware, the town and EPCOR have been working on the 5-year repricing of the utilities services agreement. Over that period, we've identified a number of amendments that have either been put in place or changes to the scope that have occurred through changes in work and EPCOR scope of work. And so we've taken more of an approach to amend and restate the agreement with EPCOR from the town. So we're here this evening to discuss some of those amendments and give council a bit of an overview, and then ask for council's approval relative to the amendments to the agreement.
Go for it.
Okay, so largely, I guess, most of the amendments that we've been working on is a lot of removal of out of scope and out of date activities. So obviously the removal of residential irrigation scope of work, things like the Y2K initiative that occurred around the time that the contract was signed, employment of town staff through the transition of the contract. That's now obviously an initiative that's being passed. We've also added in new scope activities, things like the East Calgary Regional Water Line, the new wastewater treatment plant, and then additional scope items, certain scope items that we've taken on over the years.
I noticed you never added in December 21st, 2012. The end of the world. We don't have to pay after that, or?
That's right. That's when all contracts end.
That's right, yeah.
Incorporation, we've also incorporated a number of other amendments that have been previously approved, so we wanted to incorporate those into a single document, so we weren't continuously referencing amendments that were on individual sheets of paper and things along those lines. And then also approvals and other things that have changed in the contract since 2000. So a number of changes, obviously with this being a 20-year contract, the first 10 years having now gone by, there's a number of changes that have occurred over those 10 years. 12 basically now, or going into 12. And this is, as it's mentioned here, this is not a new contract, so we're not asking the council approve a new contract. It's an amendment to and basically a restatement of the existing contract that we do have with Federal Waters.
And I understand that both parties' lawyers have looked at this. Is that correct?
Well, the changes aren't really, there's not a lot of substantial change to the contract. In all honesty, it's basically adding scope, like I mentioned here, and other previous amendments. There's not a lot of wording changes. I believe council had a copy of the agreement, so there weren't a lot of. I guess for our purposes, I don't believe our lawyer or our legal counsel has reviewed this, just because we felt that the changes weren't significant or so significant that they wouldn't need to see that.
And that's what we told me that. Okay.
Are we looking at any dollar changes?
Council have already approved the 5-year pricing in November of 2011, and so there's no changes relative to. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. This is just wording and statements within the contract.
Actually went down, didn't it?
Replacing.
You are funny today.
And just keep throwing that in.
Keep trying.
We've got a pen, not a pencil.
Yeah. Any questions by council, to administration and FCAR? It's kind of, thank you very much, you did a good job, from what I can read in the contract.
It was a lot of work, and this is the end of, well, you know, it's the end of our 5-year pricing review amendment to the contract.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank the administration because we haven't been at this since fall of 2009 actually is when we formally started the contract review. So it's been a bit of a slog, but the administration's been great to work with, and we were able to get through the changes that were required, the scope changes, all that. So
Believe you me, Jesse reminded me very much how much work he did.
we tried not to make it too painful.
Any questions, council? Go ahead.
I move that council approve the amended and restated water, wastewater, and storm drainage utility services agreement between the town of Strathmore and Epcor Water Services, Inc., and that the mayor and CAO are authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the town.
I'll make a motion, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, and I do thank you for your work, administration. That was a lot of work. I'm not paying attention.
Right.
And you guys. But I know we got to. Water treatment plant decommissioning. Ken Group.
We'll stay, yeah. The, part of the water, the Calgary water line that we brought in, there was a requirement for us to submit a decommissioning plan of the water treatment plant. So we had to decommission the water treatment plant, provide a physical removal of the connection between the water treatment plant and the reservoir on the water distribution system, and then a reclamation or basically decommissioning of the water treatment plant. Part of that decommissioning is the reclamation of the 2 alum settling ponds and the drying bed that we have on the water treatment plant property. Those areas are basically where we would take the alum from the process and basically put it into a settling pond, where we then remove that material and put it into a drying bed. So the 2 areas basically have alum material from the treatment plant going into those areas for settling and then basically drying, and then subsequent removal from that drying area. With the reclamation of the water treatment plant, both of those areas now need to be reclaimed before we can do anything on the site. With the intentions, obviously, for that area to become a development, residential development, it's now our responsibility to reclaim that site ahead of development occurring. So, in 2011, we had submitted a project with a project estimate of approximately $60,000 that consisted of basically removing that material and taking it to an approved landfill. We anticipated that most of the material would be able to be spread over land, and then some of that material would have to be taken to the landfill. Since that time, we've had Golder Associates, and Epcor have been working to have Golder Associates review the material within those ponds and drying beds. And basically what's been found is that a number of substances of concern are within those ponds and drying beds. We found barium, I believe there's some concerns with uranium and copper, some arsenic. And so now what Golder have indicated is that that material will need to be taken to a landfill, a Class 2 landfill, which is basically a hazardous materials landfill, and cannot then be simply spread to try and essentially dilute that material.
Uranium and copper are in all soils. Why? How do they determine?
I believe it's...
Yeah, there's a provincial guideline called the Alberta Tier 1 guideline for reclamation or whatever, so it sets some limits for all sorts of metals, organic and inorganic constituents for reclamation of any site, and those ones that Jesse mentioned to varying degrees.
No, but if you went 20 feet from that alum fill, you'd find uranium and copper, I'm saying.
You could, certainly, but these levels exceeded
Oh, I see.
provincial guideline.
The other question I got, why can't we call it up north to our place here where we're hauling we're calling all of it.
For the compost facility?
No.
The compost facility?
Yeah.
Again, because eventually that compost gets reused as a, soil amendment or enhance or whatever, that process doesn't remove the heavy metals and so on.
See, there's no heavy metals coming up here from our.
Not at that
There are guidelines certainly for,
Right.
it's a Canadian
Yeah.
guideline for compost quality.
I'm not
Again,
picking on you guys, I'm just thinking it's so.
No, it's
so ridiculous.
there's
You can grow potatoes in that home and then nobody would get hurt and eat them. It's ridiculous. Anyway. So $300,000, probably.
That's our current budget, based on some project estimates that have been pulled together with EPCOR.
Yes, so we have, firm costs on tippage at the landfill and hauling. What's an unknown until we actually excavate the material and weigh it is the specific gravity, or if you will, the density of the material. So we made an assumption on density to get the total weight, and that's an unknown. And also, the volume to remove is based on the sampling that Golder did. What we'll have to do when all that material is removed is resample it to make sure we got it all. And if there's some remaining that if it's distributed oddly or something that sampling didn't get, we could have to haul more than the estimates here.
That's a bit.
So if what you're saying that doesn't take place, then this $48,000 contingency could be taken up. We're looking at $270,000.
Absolutely. If our estimates are bang on, then we wouldn't be required to use that contingency. It's in there for that possible, inaccuracy in the volume estimates, or if the sampling.
So the 319,000 is a maximum figure?
We sure hope it is, yes.
Well, that's not what I want to hear. That's a yes or no question.
Based on what the evaluation we've done, it shouldn't go over. Because if you think of it, the material came from the water plant, from the waste from the clarifiers and so on, so it should be relatively uniform in quality when it went into the pond. So the sampling should be representative of all the material.
You always scare me when you say stuff like that.
Well,
Dr. Alvin?
Just a quick question in regards to disposing of this material. Where would it be hauled to the company of Swan Hills to be destroyed?
No,
Strathmore?
Brooks.
What's his drum out here someplace?
Yeah, we did some cost, we looked at Calgary and other places in Brooks was much more cost effective. I think Calgary was like $100 a ton or something, and Brooks is $22.
Your worship, if you look on page 67, near the bottom,
Yeah.
it's even got the price.
I thought I was reading from it, okay, but fine, wherever it goes. I did see the one thing, sorry, Councillor Sobel, go ahead.
Just quickly, the cubic meters is approximately 1,900 that we're estimating, I think
It's almost 3,000 because there's the ponds and the drum.
I'm sorry, 2,900, pardon me.
Yes.
I slipped the deuce on the one there. Any idea how many truckloads that is?
Each truck is 10.
About 18 cubic meters per truckload.
For
so
18?
We can certainly firm up that number, but that sounds right.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just say, and I'm not scolding the administration or everything, but had I known that this was there when we made this contract with the purchaser, I would have made them, I've been part of the contract, I would have made them do it. And were we made aware of that this was there at the time of purchase?
Worship, we knew it was there, but the landowner on sites like this expect to clean it up. Just like the land
Yeah,
you
but
bought.
you can make any condition in a contract. If I had been made aware that you can put that as a condition that they do it. It could have been a condition of the contract.
But on the 10 acres down there, the landowner had to before we bought.
I know that, but I'm saying.
Okay.
I wanted in our favor always, not theirs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the administration? Don? what you're looking for?
We're actually, yeah, we'd be looking for two
Motions.
motions. One would be to increase or set a 2012 capital project, because we did not have this within the 2012 approved capital project. And then the second would be to authorize EPCOR basically to proceed with the estimated project cost.
Councilor Best.
I'm just wondering when, on the first recommendation, the first motion, that shouldn't, that I really want that to say maximum.
I don't think you can, I'm sorry, Councilor Best. I mean, I hear you, but.
Well, we can say not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
319, and then ultimately, if there are unknown circumstances and other things, we will be coming back to council.
Yeah, we have to clean it up anyway.
One way or the other, they gotta come back.
They gotta come back and we gotta pay the bill.
Regardless of if it says not to exceed, if it were to exceed, we would have to come back to council to authorization.
We'd have to pay the bill no matter what happens.
And we wouldn't spend it without.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I hear you, but.
Just one comment. Could I be assured, Jesse, that the trucking contract is going to be widely advertised? And I'm just thinking. I mean, I appreciate that we're looking at about 100 trips or so to Brooks, so it's a substantial amount. But that may be a lucrative. Like, are we under the gun on this time-wise?
Well, development will drive the time
Yeah.
frame on this, I guess, really is what it comes down to.
I'm just thinking a smaller firm may appreciate this at a substantially lower price, that's all. So I'm just trying to encourage that we widely look at possible. I mean, that's a fairly substantial part of this whole contract is the trucking costs.
We did get competitive pricing on this. I don't think it was an open tender.
No, it wasn't open tender, but
we
when
did
I
get
seeked competitive pricing and Gray's Excavating here in Strathmore came back as the lowest.
I'm wondering why, and there was other people that didn't know about it locally in their smaller firms. Is there any reason why?
We had, to the chair, we had requested, when this first came to council, and it was recommended that this firm do the trucking, we had requested for more rates to come back to council for consideration. We have never seen anything. I'm just wondering why no more effort has been made to come up with more other rates from.
I wasn't aware that there was a request.
We had sent the administration back to get more quotes on the hauling.
This was in 2011.
When this first came up.
For the 60,000.
No, a year, not that long ago.
Could you re-advertise this in case? Is that wrong?
Yeah, well, like I said, we didn't tender it. We didn't advertise it. It was essentially invited bids to known companies like local companies and other companies in the area. So we didn't. And part of the reason for that is because my understanding it was a bit in a state of flux whether this would go ahead depending on the status of that land and so on. So you open tender a project and then it doesn't happen, you kind of lose some credibility with that community when you actually go to do it again, if you will. So we did speak to a number of contractors, get competitive pricing and our recommended.
Those are estimates.
But of course, we obviously haven't signed a. No, it's a firm quote from them,
okay.
what the pricing is based on. But obviously, we haven't signed any contracts yet until we received approval here. So I think that's the status.
Yeah, that's the
now,
status
right?
now.
So if we are directed open tender, we could. I would think.
I don't want to embarrass anybody, but yeah. Councilor Best.
We need one amendment, Your Worship, on the bottom of page 70. Where it calls for the municipal clerk, I believe that should be Jennifer Sawatsky.
Pardon?
Yourself and your mayor
Yeah.
sign?
Yes.
We can provide that actually would be.
Your worship, the mayor and myself do all the signing now.
That's right, that's what I thought.
I believe we have captured that in the contract.
Yeah. I didn't never sign your thing. So let's just note that in the motion, okay?
But, right in the motion.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Doesn't
okay.
have to be a change.
Any other questions? Where were you? I was lost in the,
We were talking about whether we should have an open tender for truckers. We can do that. Okay.
Does it put you in bad light? Anybody? I'll be honest.
Well, I don't know what, I wasn't managing the work with the contractors, so I'm not sure how that went. Like I said, we didn't sign a contract with them until we have a signature with a subcontractor or whatever. We never say you have the job, because you never know, right? So I can say that we promised them whether we thought, yeah, it's likely to go ahead or not. I don't think it should be a problem. And irrespective, it's a process that we completely understand to open tender work such as this. So we're directed to do so.
Is that what council wants?
Yeah, yes, your worship. I wanted to just add that I would like to see it as an open tender. I think public perception too is that we make sure that it's absolutely fair to the various local trucking companies. I think we do that as a town, and I think this would also show that we're being open and accountable.
Councilor Rocky?
Your worship, you're cleaning up pretty, I don't know what the stuff does to human beings, but is that special trucks you gotta use for this, or just open dump trucks like? So arsenic and copper and uranium could be flying off the trucks down the highway?
Always on the road, that's okay.
That's okay. Just asking.
Jan and I, we've got a lot of that.
And basically, my second question was, nothing goes on up there until we get this cleaned up.
Is that great?
Well, in that area, correct.
Really, they can't start to,
Well, in that specific area, they just can't disturb the soils in that.
but it's not gonna delay the project if we do this extra testing. Is it?
That process will take some time. It'll take us some time to prepare the tender documents. We'd likely want it out on the street for this type of work. Probably 2 to 3 weeks would be sufficient. So it'll be a good month, at least, delay, if you will.
Your worship, I would move that we recess this until such time as a winner of the bid is brought back to us, so that we know exactly what we're dealing with.
I don't quite fully want to. I don't quite follow that.
I would like to recess this until such time as they bring us back a proper quote as to numbers. Because right now, if they're sending out for tender, then it should be brought back to us at that time and not now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, can't you just direct them, make a motion directing them to send it out to tender, simple as that? Isn't that a simple way? But, can you do it that way, please? And then they'll come back to us with the tender.
Same thing.
And just for clarity, this is a project that's being managed by EPCOR. This is EPCOR managing this on our behalf. So, historically, when we've done an estimated project cost and approval, then beyond that, EPCOR runs the project essentially on behalf of the town.
Is that what we're paying them $29,000 for?
That's correct.
Are we not covering ourselves, your worship, with the maximum of $319,000 and $319,042? I mean, and all we're doing is telling them that we want the lowest possible price and a request open tender. But if we went with an open, like I want this thing going already. This has got to be something that's got to get going.
But I'm wondering why this, why can't town manage this? Why do we have to pay EPCOR, and no disrespect to them, why do we have to pay them $30,000 to manage it? It's not much to manage.
Well,
it's a project within the water and wastewater infrastructure.
Part of the contract.
So we consider this as part of another scope, but part of the capital work.
Why do we have to consider, I don't understand that. I mean, we could have done this ourselves. Who interpreted that way? Without a scope, I don't understand how that, it's dirt, if we're moving dirt, not doing moving water.
No, but it's a project to determine within the infrastructure that was EPCOR's in terms of water treatment plants, the beds and the drying ponds, basically, considered part of the water treatment plant. And that was the decision that we made 2 years ago when we started this project.
Anyway, my point is the check.
I think there's still a motion on the floor, Your Worship.
Allard, and what are we, what are the future motions on story? Right.
I just wanted to, excuse me. I can't think of the wording, my mind's gone. To recess this, until such time as a number for the tender is brought back so that we can pass it knowing the actual figures.
Council, understand that? You happy with it? Any discussion?
So, what you're saying, Councillor Best, is that, Your Worship, to Councillor Best, you're saying that 319,000 total might be lower?
It certainly could be lower. But what that, but, and you know, well, it won't be higher because Great Grace is already there, right?
Only discussing Grace, can you just put it, my favoritism would be do what you want, but would they just put it out to tender, that contract must go out to tender?
I agree.
On the dirt, that's all I want to ask you for. Sorry, clarify there.
Yeah,
We
Your
put it that
Worship, we would, if we're directed to go with tender, we would
That's
do
all I'm
that,
asking.
but you can still approve.
And that's the figure, that's the only figure that,
Then we know the project is going ahead. Because
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
tender it, then.
Just then you're putting it out.
because the trucking is the only figure that would change, everything else is going to stay the
Exactly,
same.
yeah.
So how do we prove this number though?
Then I would rescind that, Your Worship, and I would move that council approve the 2012 capital project for the water treatment plant, alum beds disposal, in the amount not to exceed $319,042 with funds to be drawn from the financial stabilization reserve.
And or not, that the trucking's not going to tender? Can you add that?
Trucking cost be tendered.
And the trucking costs be tendered.
Thank you. Y'all heard the motion, any more further discussion?
Your Worship. So that, let's say that trucking cost goes out to tender, it comes in at $100,000, so
But we
it's
already have.
$30,000 cheaper?
Okay, so it won't, that will still won't exceed the figure that we have.
Exactly, yeah. It'd just be less altogether.
So 30,000 will come off of the 319?
Right.
Yeah. Not the total 30, the percentage will come on. If the contract is 200,000, then they're charging 13%, it's at 13%, you're charging, what is it? 10? Be 20,000, instead of 26.
That and
Yeah.
the other figure goes down.
And everything goes down, yeah. Y'all, any further discussion, do y'all understand it? All in favor? Carried.
And I'd also move that council authorize EPCOR to proceed with the alum beds disposal project not to exceed $319,042, and that the mayor and CEO are authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the town.
We gotta get the tenders in before I can do that. So. Isn't that right?
Yes.
No?
That's authorizing EPCOR to commence the work
Proceed with the
on the
project.
project.
Okay. All right, fine with me.
Not to exceed.
Yeah. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Eight three, Mayor and Council Code of Ethics and Conduct Policy.
Your Worship, as there were some late changes in regards to this policy, I would move that this matter be adjourned to next open council meeting on March 21st.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Meeting and departmental reports. We start from Councillor Hamilton, House Suspend.
Thanks a lot. I forgot my notes at home, but. That was Chamber of Commerce. It was, discussion revolved around the Heritage Days. There are new upcoming meetings for Demza Friday for Alberta Health Services contract meeting. And that's all the committees I had since last council. I think Council Rocky has more on the agenda.
Thank you. That's it. Council Rocky.
Your worship attended the United Way meeting February 9th, basic overview of activities planned for 2012. Needs assessment was done after 1 year, just about a 1 year delay, came in $25 under budget, that was very nice. Meeting set up with Dealing Consulting to discuss this assessment, but the people didn't show up, so that was postponed. Bus meeting attended February 27th. The financials by mail looked good. The operations ahead regarding the operations look good. Trips and ridership and the clients are up. Plaque was made up for the Thompson family. For those of you that knew Bruce Thompson, he passed away late last year. He was a longtime driver and board member. I also delivered a verbal presentation on duties and rights of the board and was well received at that time. However, I believe that's going to change before the next meeting. That's it for me.
Thank you. Can I? No, we've been housing. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Sewell.
There was no meeting with the Family Center Advisory Board for Strathmore Wheatland Addiction Team. There was one meeting February 2nd, and I was absent. The group has been busy though. The chair, Crystal Wall, doing a presentation to the RCMP in regards to the positive ticketing program and the group preparing to have a booth in the upcoming Children's Festival, which is this coming Saturday, March 10th at the Civic Center as well. SWAT members, Mrs. Wall, Catherine Walsh, and Constable Ann Daly of the RCMP hosted a drug information seminar at the Youth Center on February 27th. It was well received. This is a 4-part series, and the additional 3 seminars will be held on the last Monday of each of the following months, March, April, and May. In regards to the Arts and Recreation Foundation at the golf course, a meeting was held on February 8th. Most of the discussion centered on preparation for the group's open house presentation on February 25th and the upcoming presentation to the Strathmore Golf Course shareholders. Hope Bridges Society Community Arts Center feasibility study. This committee had worked on this study for months, and it was released at a public forum on February 28th. It was comforting to see our MLA, Arnold Dirksen, Mayor Graychuk, and Councillor Hamilton present. With this study completed, the next step for this committee will be to facilitate a process which will see an Arts Council formed for the Strathmore area. And finally, in regards to SAY, which is the new group of youths that are called Strathmore Assembly for Youth, we met on February 7th, and the group is advised that they are embarking upon a fundraising event to raffle off a Flames jersey signed by the 2011-12 team, which was donated by our own Mayor Graychuk. Main project where they discussed was to work on a method to deal with some of the problems surrounding graffiti in town and to work on a method of letting other youths know about what the different functions are taking place in town for youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Best.
I was unable to attend the Happy Gang meeting last month simply for the fact that my work was having inventory and that priority. Wheatland Housing, our meeting was held and was a budget meeting, and we just went over figures and budgets, which was all approved. Councillor Rempel will be giving the WFCSS report. There was no meetings for the names. We had our initial meeting with the mayor, myself, Dave, Councillor Hamilton for the audit committee, and that will be coming back at the first council meeting in April. Oh, and Tracy Burkholder was there as well, thank you. Wild Rose, most of the meeting was held in camera due to things that are happening with the Community Futures Group, and I will soon have a full disclosure on that. One of the other things we discussed at that meeting is there's a meeting regarding the Badlands Group with about 700 students coming up at the end of this month. I believe the date is 3/28, but I'm not positive. Other than that, I have nothing.
I have a couple of requests on Wheatland Housing. I understand, and maybe you can find this out for me, this is just a request, that there is, throughout Alberta and all the senior citizens homes, such as Wheatland Lodge, there is a health review committee that goes around observing them. I'm not sure I have the full name right, but I'll get it to you. And see if they come here or not. And secondly, I understand there's a point system as far as getting people, are people being going into the lodge. Is it different? Is the point system the same for the county as it is for us?
Yes.
Yes.
And who puts up our money? Or how does the money allot? How do they decide?
That's per capita, isn't that? What's that? Assessment?
Yes.
I believe it's on assessment.
Okay.
And is there a resident plan satisfactory survey that's done annually?
What is that again?
A resident plan satisfaction survey, in other words, they take a survey from the residents, whether or not they're comfortable.
Yes, I know for sure that that's done.
For done?
Yeah.
And I can get a copy of the financial statement? Annual financial statement?
Should be able to get it.
Thank you. Other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Buell.
There was no museum meeting, and in fact, we're looking for more board members, so I still have to get in contact with the two papers in town. The library board met, and we also had a budget meeting. Just some small things that are happening. Trying to work out the loan agreement with the photocopy company. Some technology courses are being presented at the library. Some of the programs are still up and running, working well. Daddy and Me program is still going well. The Kids Craft Club is on hold. We had a budget meeting on February 22nd, and we approved that. As far as the Youth Club of Strathmore, we got a programs update from Kalina. We've had a fire inspection and a deficiency report done. I've been in contact with Linda. We're just trying to make sure that all the points have been dealt with. We've moved our office from Remax into the new center. We now have a Facebook and Twitter account, and thanks to Kirsten Mundy for that. The youth center. The youth center facility itself, the security lights are working. We stripped and painted the flooring, and special thanks to Pastor Roger Gilbert, who put in an incredible amount of time on a long weekend to do that. We're going to be having a visioning session set up with Jennifer Brooks. And one of the things that came up as a concern was we received a bill from the town for the utilities for the youth center, and it was electricity and gas from June until December. And we've paid the bill, but it came up to about half of what the town gave us to get into the building, and we didn't really get into the building itself until much later in the year. So we're wondering if there's a way we can look at what we were actually charged, because as far as we were concerned as a Strathmore Youth Club and board, we weren't really in the building until far later in the year. So is that you that I would be in contact with, Linda, for that? Okay, and that's the one I wanted to mention. And that is it for me.
That's all fuel for thought?
It's all fuel for thought.
I was with the understanding when we donated the building, and correct me if I'm wrong, Council, that when were we paying the utilities, or no? I don't understand this.
I thought for the first year we were going to help out with that. I'll check into that agreement.
Thanks, Your Worship.
I don't know, does any councillor recall?
No, I don't. That rings a bell with the first year, giving them a break on the utilities. But I did want to comment that we were in there for that drug talk, with the courtesy of the youth center.
I didn't even recognize the interior of that building. You guys just did an absolutely fantastic job on that. Good job.
Yeah, we have a good board.
Looks really good.
Thank you, and, Councilor Rebel.
Just had two WFCSS meetings in February, and they both centered around requests for funding for various programs, and other than that, it's just business as usual, not much to report.
Thank you. I was at the Mayor's Caucus meeting in Edmonton sometime last month, and found it very interesting. Some of the things that they're really promoting is what is called, in all communities, Local Matters campaign and public awareness. It's a public awareness campaign, which is the first of our association and as far as AUMA. And we are aiming to inform and educate this new audience about the importance of local government, about the fact that it is a municipal order of government and that meets their daily needs as citizens on the ground, and about the realities of municipal findings. Beginning March 5th and for the next 2 to 3 weeks, it will print and hear radio advertising in Strathmore supporting the new provincial municipal relationship. The public will be directed to a new section of the AUMA website to get more information, providing this feedback on local matters. And I really think that's something local really does matter. And as far as CRP, I had a meeting in Banff. It's always a tough one, and sort of a roundtable discussion. A lot of the same old issues that are going to be dropped and ever forgotten, and it's been inviting the rules in. Much discussion on it. We're all getting tired of it. And a lot of concerns. Most of the roundtable discussions was the great concerns about the shortage of water in the near future, and we all should be concerned about it. And all the mayors are, of course, except Banff because they're on the. But they're concerned. They're concerned for us. I mean, but it is a great concern, and we all got to take awareness of this. Other than that, I have another meeting coming up next Friday with the CRP. Thank you. Someone move adoption of the report. So move. Councilor Best, all in favor? Carried. Questions and comments on our administration, if not? Yes.
Just previous to the regular meeting, I just want to bring up a point for officers for call to action, I guess, for lack of a better word. We're a local establishment. The woman went out and she came back in and she had sliced her hand, painted the webbing all the way down to the bone, and she was in shock. And the two peace officers and another civilian, myself, that were there, they attended to this person with professionalism, I thought, and just to give them an accolade. And I believe our administration is going to write a little letter of thank you to them and place it on the personnel file, just for your information.
Nice to hear. It was kind of good work. Nice to hear.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor.
Your Worship, mine's not a question either, but I know my wife would want me to bring this up. A lot of you know that Debbie has experienced a sudden vision loss in one of her eyes, and she very much wanted to let you all know that she appreciated the flowers and the sentiments that you sent to her, and she has a card for the staff and the council and mayor. So thank you very much on behalf of Debbie.
Did you ask her for me? Are you looking any better?
This actually might have prolonged our marriage now that she can't actually see me well.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Your Worship, I've been asked by a number of constituents in regards to the costs of our efforts to see whether or not we should become a municipality, a city rather. And I'd like council support to direct administration to start tracking the costs that will be incurred and have already been incurred in regards to this project.
Well, Your Worship, the only thing that bothers me about this is that we're going to have them track, and that's fine. But now we're going to have them tracking the cost and the cost of them doing it as well. If we have anyone else, then that cost will come in if they want to watch what the other staff is doing. Sooner or later, it has to stop. If we want to do the cost of what it's costing the staff, fine, but we're going to be adding in the cost of the staff who's looking at the cost of the staff.
I'm lost. I have no idea what you're talking about. It doesn't take very long to put down 4 hours on a piece of paper. We're not talking about any substantial time to track the tracking.
But I guess what I'm getting at, Councillor, is that, Councillor Sobel, that, do we track the cost of, utility bills when they went up, to the community?
Well, we have information in regards to those costs. We're not having any information recorded as to what this is costing us. And there's been statements made by members on this council, this will virtually cost nothing to do. And it's not correct. It's a substantial amount of money. And I think we owe it to our constituents to tell them how much money this is costing.
I'm not arguing the point, you didn't answer my question, is that when the utility bills went up, the phone rang off the wall. We didn't track the per hour that all these people, our internal staff. We didn't track them.
No, you're right, because there's no request to do so.
So why is this any different? Why should this be different than that?
Well, I guess the reason is because I've been asked by a number of people what this is costing, and that we have council members saying that this is not costing anything, and that's incorrect. And I want to know what this is going to cost our constituents by the end of the day, what this is costing.
I think it's an unfair request, totally. It's not even reasonable. But anyway, make sure you track the 10 minutes we're talking about tonight. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Rocky.
Your Worship, I think, whether we think it's ridiculous or not, I think that's beside the point. We're going to be in front of the people at an open house on May 10th, and I think we need every piece of information in front of us, including these so-called costs for tracking.
Council? Anybody else?
Well, I agree as well, because we're being scrutinized carefully by a lot of different groups and people, and they do want to know what we're doing. And I think if we're going to be above board and present this at the open house, it's probably a great idea to make sure all our T's are crossed.
So long as we tell them, you're right, so long as we tell them that there's great costs when the utility bills went up, the phone rang off the wall for 2 months. There was a cost there also. That's part of doing business. That's ridiculous. They gotta understand that. But that, to me, is trying to pick out of the pepper. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Make sure that all the citizens know that when you people were being charged with all kinds of innuendos before my term, what was the cost of that? Nobody took that into consideration, but that was quite all right for the citizens, a few citizens, to take up all of council's time, all of integration time, thousands of dollars worth of hours, but nobody recorded that. I mean, that's one, and we're setting a precedent.
I think you're gonna find the cost minimal, to be quite honest with you.
But let's be fair to everybody then, okay?
I agree.
And no other, so what are you asking, Councillor Sobel?
I'm looking for a vote of confidence or to direct the council to direct the administration to do so.
So you're making a motion, is you saying?
Sure, yes.
Okay, you heard the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Not carried. I'm looking for nothing else. I'm looking for a motion of adjournment.
I would move to adjourn.
All in favor? Carried.